This is the daily writing exercise recorded, part 3, the death downstairs. As I listened in on my downstairs neighbor chatting to what I believed to be her roommate, lover, or guest, I wondered how often these people considered the possibility of someone like me listening in. Do they not care, or is this the price they have accepted for being one of the few people who have a garden? Is this some sort of garden tax all homeowners are forced to pay for that little bit of extra space? My other downstairs neighbor doesn't seem to have the same issue. He does however not speak English though, and so his garden tax is relatively easy paid. The freedom of speaking a language your neighbor doesn't speak is often underappreciated. I would often hear him and his supposed friends firing up the grill and roasting meat after meat on a warm summer day. He has however remained suspiciously quiet, and I haven't seen him out ever since my downstairs neighbor has moved in. Now, I know nothing nefarious has transpired, for I continue to see his shaving foam in a window sill as I pass it by on my way to the shop. But it does remain a rather interesting tidbit. She, on the other hand, seems to be spending an hour or so every single day on her small balcony overlooking the garden, where she chats with someone on her phone or, as I mentioned, converses with her friend, lover, or roommate. She also smokes as far as I can tell. I do not know what she does for a living, and have only caught a glimpse of her once. As such, I only really know of her existence through her voice. Granted, I'm not doing much either. I lay now in my bed at the end of September, waiting for the week to end. My final week, to be precise. I plan to end it all the following Monday. It is an arbitrary date which has no other significance than being 1 week away from today, so I'm hardly in a position to complain about this, that, and the other, I suppose. Chapter 2. I feel I should elaborate a bit more about my downstairs neighbor, for I have indeed not seen him in a while. I can hear him come home at around 6 in the evening, now and again, but I have not seen him in his garden since the other downstairs neighbor has moved in. Said neighbor only moved in after the previous tenant passed away, during one of the many heatwaves we have seen of late. He was an old man, somewhere in his 80s, with a troubled past, who never seemed to be able to move on from it. So much so that he returned to his parents' home and stayed there until his death. Two tenants moved in a month after or so, as part of a governmental scheme to prevent squatters from occupying the property. Property in a street that is slated to be demolished at some indeterminate point in the future. My landlord, however, has held out, and, for some unknown reason, refuses to sell. The whole city is in fact on the verge of a major redevelopment boost. All the old occupants have to make way for the new and more richer ones. The city wants to improve its image and desperately tries to become one of those major cities in the world. City marketing is what I call it. In reality, it's nothing more than to ensure more new people come in and more old people leave. And the best way to do that is to buy them out of their existing homes and to build new ones in their place that the old ones cannot possibly afford. So the city becomes new, and I remain stuck within it, nostalgic for the past and everything of the old. A past that was never really a past, seeing as the Germans reduced the place to ashes during the Second World War. But that was that, and this is now, and now my neighbor doesn't grow in his garden anymore, and I have a new mysterious person living in the apartment underneath me. This was all that was written and recorded. Thank you for listening.